You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
Come on, let's turkey try. Let's get it while it's hot.
You're listening to the Thanksgiving episode of the Dolphins Talk Daily Podcast with Mike Oliva and Ian Berger.
Good evening, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you tonight? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com Thanksgiving Spectacular Show with myself, Mike, and Ian Berger, brought to you by BetUS. Ian, once again, back at Ian693 on Twitter. How are you doing tonight?
Man, so many great things to be thankful for. Starting off with, obviously, family, friends, you, Mike. 3-game win streak for the Miami Dolphins. I'm excited for tonight's show, man, because we haven't had a 3-game win streak since last season, right?
Last season, I know. And it's always more fun to do these shows after a win. That's for damn sure. And let's start off, as always, giving a big shout out to everyone watching and listening at finheaven.com. Go to finheaven.com, the largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. As always, if you're watching on the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, thank you. And be sure to subscribe to that channel and smash that like button. And for those of you watching on Facebook and the great Facebook page, the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook group run by Carlos Hernandez. First off, happy Thanksgiving to Carlos. Be sure to share this video and be sure to join the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook group. And also, there's a new alert button function on live shows on Facebook. Click that. So anytime we do a live show on Facebook, it will send you a message to notify you of all the great Dolphins Talk content you can watch on Facebook.
You gonna wear that hat the whole show?
I'm gonna go as long as I can because it does get a little bit warm. So we'll see how long this goes. But let's start off. We got a lot of news, Ian, to talk about in the world of the Dolphins. I guess the big news from today on Wednesday was the Miami Dolphins signed running back Philip Lindsay off waivers, and I think a lot of fans of Dolphins are happy because as we know, the Dolphins running back room, not a strength. Myles Gaskin last week had a pretty good game, but again, the Jets, you got to take everything with a grain of salt there because it is the Jets. But Philip Lindsay should help. Philip Lindsay, it's one of those things, again, it's like, great, we added him. Why didn't we try to sign him in the offseason when he was available? Because if we did, maybe we're not sitting here at 4-7. Maybe we're, 5 and whatever, or we have a few more wins. Lindsay can play. He's going to help. So I like this move. What are your thoughts on the addition of Philip Lindsay?
I like the move too, but I'll tell you that I am taking it from kind of a cautious approach. And the reason I'm taking it at kind of like a cautious approach is he had those 2 1,000-yard seasons with the Denver Broncos. I remember actually he was one of my fantasy running backs back then, and he was ripping it up, right, for those 2 seasons. And then the following season, his production dropped off. I think he got injured too. In this season, his production obviously was off too. He got cut, twice now, right? Twice by 2 separate teams. And the last team that cut him was the team that's last in the National Football League right now altogether.
Well, I think they're now in full mode of they want to lose.
Right. They want their draft.
They want that top pick,
right? Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of being cautious, kind of seeing all those different things. But man, if he can kind of recapture some of that form that he did in 2018 and 2019 when he was a Pro Bowler, man, I think we may have hit the jackpot, right? But I want to see it first before I get too excited,
Well, it's one of those things where, is he the best guy? No. But compared to what we have, is he better than Salvin Ahmed? Yes. Is he better than Laird? Yes. Is he better than Johnson, who just got his first action last week? Probably, yes. Myles Gaskin, they're probably one and the same, honestly. So it helps. It's not about Philip Lindsay's going to come in and save the world. It's compared to what else we have. If you're dating a 5, hey, if you're dating a 5 and you got a chance to upgrade to a 6, that 6 is going to look like a 10 because that's the best you can do. So that's all this is at the end of the day. Lindsay compared to what else we got. it's going to help, and I think it's going to help this offense. This offense needs to run the ball more. Last week it ran the ball more versus the Jets, but again, take everything with a grain of salt versus the Jets. They are a historically bad defense, but it was nice to see them try to run it more, run it with a little bit of success. So I like that there. The other big news, Michael Dieter was designated to return from IR.
Yeah, I like that.
He did practice today, so he probably will be elevated in time for this game this upcoming week. I don't know if he's going to start on Sunday or not, but he should be with the team. And with the offensive line, any and all warm bodies they can get to help will help. So what are your thoughts on that, Ian?
So this is going to be an interesting take. And I'm, first of all, I'm really glad that Michael Dieter has gotten the call back to be able to play, that he's healthy enough. I know when I was talking to his mom a couple of weeks back, I was like, man, I love the story from your son, a 6th-round pick, to be able to now be a starter in the NFL. I think that story is awesome. But here's the interesting thought, right? Our current center, Austin Reeder, he didn't do too bad this past weekend. He played pretty well, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Michael Dieter and I'm thinking to myself, what position did we originally draft him as? It wasn't a center, right? Guard. It was a guard, right? So what if we try him at guard, and see if we can potentially move some guys around, even though I know there's always caution when you're moving guys around, but Austin Jackson, he still is the Achilles heel, the one that's really kind of killing us on the line. Liam Eichenberg, he had the best game in his pro career last week. And yes, it's against the New York Jets, but still improvement is improvement, regardless of who it's against, especially on the offensive line.
You're supposed to play good against the bad teams.
Correct.
And
Correct.
The Jets on defense heading into this game, which I was going to talk about a little later, gave up 54, 31, 45, and 45. So I'm glad Miami was able to do something on offense, because if they couldn't, then I'd really be worried. But I'm also not going to give out participation trophies and take a lot of bows that, like, oh my God, they played great against the Jets. One, they didn't play great, but two, at least they look competent on offense against the Jets, because they're supposed to. So I'm not going overboard thinking now we have a franchise quarterback and the offensive line got better. It didn't. It just played a bad team. And you're supposed to play good against a bad team. So for Liam Eichenberg, that's great. And for the others who played well, that's great. That's what they're supposed to do, and it gives me some hope. But
you got to continue it this weekend.
Exactly. Now back it up against a good defense this week, because now you're playing a good defense this week. So when it comes to Michael Dieter, for me, I would just keep him on the bench and play him if you need him at this point. Don't upset the apple cart. You're this far along. Look, we're at Thanksgiving, late November. You're 4-7. You got a 6% chance of the playoffs. Let's just keep it real at this point. It probably ain't happening. But
wasn't it 4% last week?
It went from 1 to 4, but then something else happened, so it went to 6. I mean, we're still talking single digits here. It's
every week, man. Every week,
know,
that percentage is going to go up.
I know, but we're at 6%. 6% still not a good.
There's a chance, Mike. There is a chance.
And this is a Thanksgiving spectacular, so we're going to try and stay positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but at the end of the day, you have to be realistic about things. And the offensive line, is it good? No, but the past couple of weeks, it hasn't been that awful either. I mean, you got to give them some credit. It hasn't been that bad. So I would say don't upset the apple cart at this time, but we'll see what they do. I'm sure they'll upset the apple cart, because that's just how we do things in Miami. The other news out of Miami was Vince Beagle was activated to the 53-man roster. So you should be seeing him on the field here at linebacker, because they did lose Brennan Scarlett here. He's going to be out at least 3 games. So there's that. And they're a little thin at linebacker. So Vince Beagle's back. Vince Beagle, high motor guy, a lot of energy. I know he's not the most popular guy amongst fans of the Dolphins, especially on social media, but when he's on the field, he can get after the quarterback and play a little bit. So he'll add a little bit of a spark there for Vince Beagle. And the last bit of news here before we talk about this Jets game a little bit, it was announced week 15, the Miami Dolphins, because there was a little bit of, they were one of the 5 games that could have possibly been moved to Saturday to play in prime time. And obviously that was set back in April. Yep. And when you look at the Dolphins and Jets, nobody wants to put that game in prime time.
Correct.
So they are going to be playing week 15, December 19th, 1 o'clock on a Sunday, normal Sunday, 1 o'clock game on CBS. They were not one of the primetime games, because nobody should have to watch those 2 teams in primetime. the NFL is doing their fans. That's an early Christmas gift to their fan base because that's just not a primetime game. But so that's it for the news. Now, Dolphins beat the Jets, like I said. You got to win that game. Jets aren't any good. They're historically bad on defense. Historically bad. That's, and Rex Ryan, who I gave credit to last week, he's a phony and a fraud. I take everything back I said about him last week. I called up Rob Saleh. Now we're best friends. We're BFFs. We're gonna have a beer together. Screw you, Rex, you fraud. The Jets stink. And it's kind of scary that their third-string quarterback, Joe Flacco, threw for almost 300 yards against Miami. But we're going to overlook that because Miami went into the fourth quarter, tied at 14, and found a way to win. And that's all you want. Find a way to win. Look, once again, with a lot of these games, they're not pretty, but they win. And that's all you want right now is just find a way to win. It wasn't pretty, but they won. Myles Gaskin was the star of this game, in my opinion, both rushing and receiving. Thought he had the best game of the year for him. The other side of the ball, it wasn't the same one that we saw against the Ravens because Joe Flacco carved him up pretty good. He just did. So I think that game against the Ravens really was catching the Ravens on the road on a short week, which, hey, I'll take it. But that's not the Dolphins' defense of this year. That I think is going to be an outlier. But it was a win. It's a win. That's all I can say about it. It was a win.
I was obviously happy that it's our third win in a row, but I can understand your point of view that it's, it was hard to be excited about it at the end just because, we were hoping for a much bigger win, winning total or scoring amount on offense. And, after we had just seen them against the Ravens, the defense playing, we were hoping that, they were going to hold them to less yards, less points. But at the end of the day, I'm excited about a win. Also, the fact of the matter is, Joe Flacco was definitely a different look. There was a reason that the team chose Joe Flacco over Mike White because they felt that Joe would not turn the ball over, wouldn't throw interceptions. But what they didn't think was that the Dolphins would be blitzing him on the blind side, get him for that hard hit that created that fumble when he was in the red zone. So besides that turnover, Joe Flacco was really efficient, right? So
291 yards, no interceptions.
Exactly. And that's why they started him and that's why they had him play. Plus there was that one play to Elijah Moore, that I think it may have been Byron Jones.
Byron Jones. Yep.
He gambled on it. He dove to try and get the ball and he was this close, but unfortunately this close is not going to make a difference to the ball when it's thrown to that, to that type of receiver. So what was that? 70 yards or 65 yards? I forget how much it was. But so, all in all, I was happy that we won. It was not the same game that we saw against the Ravens, but I also think that every game is going to be a little bit different. And here's what I'm expecting or what I hope is that Sunday we come with a different game plan. And I know we'll talk about what Cam Newton brings and what we've seen from Cam Newton the last time we actually saw Cam Newton, which was home versus the Patriots, if I remember correctly. So we'll see. What I'd love is a convincing win, right? I think that's what we're all looking for. That's what we're all waiting for.
And if you're not going to have that versus the Jets, who are you going to have it again? That's what. Look, I'm happy they won for a couple reasons. One, I want to win at this point because we don't own our pick next year, so there's no benefit in losing.
Correct.
Two, as much as people say I don't like our quarterback, I really do like our quarterback. I know people think I don't like him. I just don't kiss his ass like everyone else does. I want to see him do well. And he did well Sunday. I'm not even knocking him. He had the one bad interception. Okay, I can live with one bad interception. But he played well. I'm not even knocking him. Just as a team, they weren't that good on defense. And to go into the fourth quarter, tied at 14, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This team's the Jets, like I said, 54, 31, 45, 45. And we're tied going into the fourth quarter. They've been kidding me. So I'm happy they won. And I'm not even knocking, certain guys. I'm just like, one of these weeks, it'd just be nice to have an easy win. I don't think it's going to happen this year, unfortunately. And I know it's not going to happen this year, but I was thinking last week against a third-string quarterback who had been with the team for a month, maybe we'd see it, but we saw on defense, they revert back to the team that we've seen all year on defense a little bit. And the offense was good. I mean, it wasn't awful, the offense. It was good, but it's like everyone else who plays this team puts up over 40, and we're scoring 24, and I don't know.
But here's what I would also say, Mike. Don't underestimate the power of momentum. Right now these players they're playing at a high level because they're feeling good about what they're doing. when you're feeling good about what you're doing, you're going to do a little bit more. You're going to do a little bit extra. And I'm having a hard time not laughing at you moving your turkey around.
I love it.
But so don't underestimate the power of a 3-game win streak, right? And that mindset. And yeah, maybe we don't expect the Dolphins to light it up against the Panthers, which is the number 1 passing defense in the NFL right now. But we didn't expect at all the Dolphins to beat the Ravens 2 weeks ago either.
I know a lot of fans are saying if we can just sort of like run this, win every game here in this stretch where we play the Jets twice, and then we can get to 7-7. I will say this: if they beat the Panthers, they will be 7-7 because they will beat the Jets at home, and
then the Giants
are
too,
a hot
right?
mess right now.
Yeah.
The Giants are a hot mess. Now, look, no team with Miami is an automatic win. We've seen them lose to Jacksonville and Atlanta, so nothing's an automatic win. I will say this: if they can beat the Panthers at home, there's a very high probability they will be at 7-7. And that's coming
the Jets
from me
and the Giants both at home. So we've got 3 games in a row at home.
And that's from me, who everyone says I'm Mr. Negative. So there's a high probability they'll be 7-7 if they can find a way to beat the Panthers, which was no easy task, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. But if they do, there's a good chance they'll be 7-7. Are they going to make the playoffs? I still think no. But if they get to 7-7, that would be somewhat of an accomplishment considering you started 1-7. So,
huge
there's something to that there.
So one thing too, and I know we haven't talked yet, or you briefly talked about Tua's performance during the game.
It was good.
And it was good. And, and we've talked about this many a times, that there are some people already that have given up on Tua and they've said, no way, no how this guy is going to do anything. Right. And then you've got guys that it doesn't matter if he throws 10 interceptions or 1 interception. They're going to say that they love Tua and they're going to,
not his fault.
He's our
never
guy.
His fault. Never
right.
His fault.
There's the 2 sides, but I think you've got to look in between. But I think what I look at, and I think I've said it to you before, these Miami Dolphins, this offensive line could be the worst offensive line that the Miami Dolphins have ever put on the field. Now, yes, they are having some better games than others, but when, a couple weeks ago or last week, I think it was, 3 of the offensive linemen were the worst in quarterback pressures in the entire National Football League.
Entirely. Oh, it's a bad offensive line. Yeah.
So with that being said, though, Tua has been able to achieve I think if I read it right, he's got number 10 quarterback rating in the National Football League. And I know there's some other stats where he's like
here's
top
the thing
5.
with that. Yes, it's right.
And there's some other stats where he's probably, lower 15, lower 20. So you can kind of pick and choose whatever stat you want to look at. But my point being that at some point you got to give him some credit to be able to move around the pocket, to be able to get the ball out as quick as he has. Because if I heard it right, I also heard that he was one of the quickest release quarterbacks because I think he has to.
He has to be.
He has to based on the offensive line. So I give him some credit for that. I give him some credit. And there's absolutely no way that he would have been able to throw that bomb to Mac Hollins if he didn't step up in the pocket and kind of move around and get that defender off his arm. So got to give the guy some credit for really making that pass.
Here's a few things with him. One, he can always navigate the pocket. That's never been a thing. He has the footwork to do it. The offensive line's usually so bad, it's even tough for even someone who's got that high-quality skill to do it just because the offensive line's so bad. So that's never been an issue with him. I'll say this about the quarterback ratings, and I say this, and I'm consistent. I think all those stats are just mumbo-jumbo horseshit, and here's why. Because right now, all the quote-unquote diehard fans of Tua, oh, look, number 10, he doesn't suck, number 10. If he goes on a stretch and plays the next 3 games where he's bad and that 10 falls down to 22, then all those same people are going to go, well, he's got the worst offensive line. You can't count that stat. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
I understand.
So either the stat
you can pick and choose whatever stat will make your story.
And that's why I take all those stats and I don't. My stat is how many points does the offense score and did you win the game? That's in this league. That's all that matters. I know a lot of people and fans like to spin all 22 tapes, footwork, vertical, length of the time the ball was in the air. Who gives a flying you know what at the end of the day? Did you lead the offense to score enough points and did you win the game? That's the only thing that matters. Fans get too caught up. Everyone wants to be, one of these guys on like NFL Network or ESPN, twisting stats, breaking down tape. That stuff's nice, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It really doesn't matter.
You're right.
It
the
comes
wins
down
are what matters at the end of the day.
Wins and points. Do you lead the offensive point? And in that game last week, they were title 14 in the fourth quarter. He led them to 10 points. Period. End of the day. That's all I care about, really. I don't care how many yards the ball was in the air for in the bomb to Mac Hollins. I don't care. Okay. No, And that's the other thing. Fans say, see, he's got arm strength. It was never a question about his arm strength. It was, we never see it. We never see it.
Although there are some people that I have heard some people that say noodle arm, right? They call him noodle arm that he can't throw the ball down the field.
I can't listen to the idiots on social media. Those people are idiots. So people who like work for the NFL, who cover a team, the smart people. It's like, I know he can actually do it. It's like a horse race. I know a horse can run the race, but can he run it the fastest? They all can get around the track once. It's how fast you're going to do it. I know he can actually throw it far. I need to see it. So
agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. So he had a good game.
I'm glad you're being positive, man. Because I heard you are Mr. Negativity sometimes.
I'm not Mr. Negativity. I just don't kiss his ass like everyone else does. And there's a lot of fans who kiss his ass. I don't, because I'm a fan of the Dolphins. I'm not a fan of Tua. I'm not part of the cult. I want to see the team win. I don't care if he's a quarterback or not. It's just I want to.
I'm a fan of his because he's our quarterback. I'm not a fan
too because he's a quarterback. But I'm not gonna lie and make excuses for him for no reason, because I treat him like every other player. I will rip them all or I'll praise them all. I don't care who's who at the end of the day. And he's a big boy too. Fans like to baby him. He's got $30 million in the bank. He's doing okay. You don't need fans sitting there bending over backwards to defend him. Now, Ian, I hope your parents are watching tonight, because we have a new Manscaped read.
Oh, no way.
And I think your father is going to love this one. So sit back and enjoy. Let me clear my throat.
You're not going to be able to keep a straight face, are you?
No, I'm not. Ho, 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 gentlemen. The holidays came early here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched new products, including their all-new ultra-premium body wash and 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give yourself, or someone who needs it, the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Everyone go to manscaped.com, use the promo code DolphinsTalk, save 20% on your order, and get free shipping. Jingle balls to the walls, fellas. Listen up. Untrimmed pubes are a thing of the past, and it's possible to have Santa's beard in your pants. It's time to leave your significant other some cookies and milk at the bottom of your chimney. I'm talking about the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 includes the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner. It's time to keep your North Pole feeling and smelling fresh. The hygiene bundle will also come with a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day long. The perfect package for your perfect package. Manscaped is going beyond the groin with their new ultra premium bottom wash. It's infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. They also launched their 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which has key ingredients with the benefits that include hydrating, nourishing, and conditioning the scalp, strengthening your hair at that same time. 'Tis the season to load up on Manscaped products, so get yourself, your dad, your brother, and friends the best gift of all, Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code DolphinsTalk. Again, 20% off, free shipping with the promo code DolphinsTalk. Clean up your nuts and make Santa proud this year. That's a good read.
That is a good read.
That's a good one.
Santa in your pants. Wait, Santa's beard
in your pants.
Gosh, get that right.
That's a good one. Now, here's what I did today. Let me tell you. Football and Thanksgiving go hand in hand. And I placed a bunch of bets on games Thursday because the games tomorrow stink on toast. But to make them more interesting, you put a few dollars on them. So we got 3 games in the NFL, and we got 2 games in college. You got the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State. It's always a great game Saturday night. If you don't want to watch the Bills and Saints, the Egg Bowl, must watch. And if you don't like the Cowboys, screw them. Turn on to Fox Sports and watch Fresno State and San Jose State. That's also a big-time rivalry game. And you got your 3 NFL games. And to place bets, go to betus.com. Use the promo code DolphinsTalk and 125% sign-on bonus. betus.com. They have loads of bonuses. So join now or call 800-69-BET-US. That's 800-MY-BET-US. You receive 125% sign-on bonus by using the bonus code DolphinsTalk. They have re-up and referral bonuses also. BetUS is known as America's favorite sports book. BetUS follows your NBA, NFL, college football, and NFL games with teams and player props and loads of NFL futures and NFL odds up. You can bet UFC matches and props, PGA golf and round matchups, live betting on most sports, including golf. The online casino has hundreds of games, and the racebook has all of your horse tracks. They have every bet type imaginable. So follow my lead and get your phone, online, and social sports betting partner with integrity and longevity like I did. BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid.
Talking about Thanksgiving games, you know what happened 29 years ago tomorrow, right?
I got that. And tomorrow's morning's Blitz on MiamiDolphins.com. I have that's a theme for 2 parts of it.
Excellent.
So at the MiamiDolphinsBlitz.com or at MiamiDolphins.com, the Blitz article I write every day, that will be a heavy theme, will be the 1993 Cowboys-Dolphins game. So
that's one of those where you remember where you were.
Absolutely.
Remember what you were doing. I was with my mom and my dad.
I was at my grandparents' house.
Yep.
That was the 4:00 game, obviously. And I remember so much about that. No Marino, no Scott Mitchell, Steve DeBerg, who we picked up off the scrap heap.
The white ground. Yep.
Snow.
On the white ground. Yep.
Keith Byers had the game of his life, ran for 77 yards, caught for 80 yards, a long touchdown. And Pete Stoyanovich, 3 field goals. 2 things about that game, because I did a little bit of research on it a few hours ago in writing the column for tomorrow. The Cowboys never scored a point after halftime. Did not know that, or just a thought.
Interesting.
One of those things that you forget over the years. And the other thing was the Cowboys, each of their touchdowns came from one player. Kevin Williams caught a short touchdown pass from Aikman, and he returned a punt 64 yards. He was the only player on the Cowboys to score that day. No other Cowboys scored, and they never scored after halftime. After halftime, Miami scored 3 field goals in the second half, won that game. So,
and the headlines the next morning in the Sun
Leon left. Everyone remembers Leon
let
left,
it go.
But which was obviously the big play that helped Miami win. But the other part of that game, when you dig in a little bit deeper, the Dolphins defense held the Cowboys to nothing after halftime. And they needed to, because with Steve DeBerg, who they just picked up 2 weeks prior, I think he played the week before against the Chiefs. That was his first game. And then it's a short week on the road. He was literally with the team for like 12 days. That was the second game. So that's the most memorable thing about that whole season. Honestly, he might have been the 4th-string quarterback, because Peterson was also there, and he got hurt too, I think. I think he might have been the 4th-string. I have to check that. Because that year, I was there when Marino got hurt against the Browns. I was actually at that game. Then Mitchell came in, set the world on fire for a few weeks. Everyone's like, this is our guy, trade Marino at the end of the year. Then he gets hurt. Then I think Peterson came in. He won Shula's 300-something, whatever win. And then by the time we got to Thanksgiving, we had Steve DeBerg. It's unbelievable.
You know, the one thing that is also unbelievable. So last season, after the Raiders game, we only had 1 game, right? So when you think about, I'm thinking about these memorable games, because after that Dolphins victory over the Cowboys,
they lost
Dolphins
them all, right?
didn't win any additional game.
Lost them all,
right? And then think also the Miami Miracle, right?
Lost them
the
all.
Dolphins lost. I don't know if they lost all of them, but I know this next week they went to Minnesota and they lost that game handily.
They lost them all after. Yeah, because that was week 16, and then it was week 17 at home. They lost again.
And then last year, the Ryan Fitzpatrick
they lost to the Bills,
pulling his head off, right?
After those iconic wins, we seem to go on a little bit of a losing streak. Think about that. After the Raiders game, if Xavier Howard doesn't cause a fumble week 1 against the Patriots this year, their next win doesn't come till November of this year. That's almost a calendar year. I mean, good Lord, that is brutal. So, Ian, last year on this show, our Thanksgiving Spectacular, I did a list of things I am thankful for. And, now we're 1 year later. I have a new list of things. Each year, you take new stock in your life, and, a lot has changed in the past year. So let's do another year of things I am thankful for here at DolphinsTalk.com.
Let's do it.
The first thing I'm going to say is I am very thankful for my outstanding family and a great group of friends this holiday season. That's sweet. That's nice.
Nice.
I am also thankful that I'm not having Thanksgiving dinner with Solomon Kinley, because if I did, there probably wouldn't be enough food for me at the end, because he's a big boy. He can eat that table. He's a big boy, as they say. Solomon Kinley. His blood type is ragu. He's a big boy. I also am very thankful for the amazing staff and all the contributors we have here at DolphinsTalk.com, like yourself, Tom, Josh and Aaron, Kevin Dern, Dante Collinelli, Jorge and Carter, the 2 amigos, everyone involved with the site, Ryan Van Hoover,
John Featherland too, because I know he's been doing a lot, right?
Yeah, John, there's been so many people, so I want to thank everyone involved here at the website. I am also thankful for Devontae Parker and Will Fuller for keeping all the South Florida medical community healthy and employed with jobs. Because they do. They're always hurt and sick and injured. So
they're always with them every day.
They're always.
I hear it's 7 days a week. They don't get a day off.
It's a full-time job with them.
Yeah.
They get around-the-clock care. And I am also thankful for the Miami Dolphins for letting me write the Blitz column this year for MiamiDolphins.com. Very thankful for the Dolphins and everyone involved with the Dolphins organization. That's very nice. I am also thankful that Christian Wilkins hasn't leaped on or jumped over any players this year in any celebrations and possibly maybe injured them. So I'm thankful for that as well.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. I am also very thankful and grateful that on Thursday I will be able to have an outstanding meal with my family.
Yeah. That's the first time in 2 years, right? To be able to do like a Thanksgiving meal with
we
everybody.
had one last year.
Okay.
We were able to have one last year. Yeah, this is a crazy week, which I'll tell you about after we get off the air. Yeah. I am also thankful, and this one kind of closes this out, that I am not a godforsaken fan of the Jets, Bills, or the stinking New England Patriots. Thank God that I am a fan of the Dolphins. Because, Ian, do you know what fans of the Bills do after their team wins the Super Bowl?
No, what?
They turn off the Xbox. What do you call an attractive lady in the city of Buffalo?
What?
A tourist. What's the difference between a bucket of shit and the New York Jets?
What?
The bucket. A new poll, this is a fun fact. A new poll said 91% of people are satisfied with their lives. The other 9% are fans of the Jets. Do you know what's the difference between a Patriots fan and a baby?
No, what?
Eventually, a baby will stop whining after a while. And last but not least, what's the difference between a Patriots fan and a carp?
What?
One is a bottom-feeding scumsucker. The other's a fish. So, I thought you get a little bit laughs out. Yes. And in closing, I am thankful for all the readers and loyal listeners to our podcast here at DolphinsTalk.com and everyone who supports DolphinsTalk.com and our little community that we have built up over the years.
So I didn't write anything up, Mike, but I do want to say.
Oh, absolutely, share.
I'm thankful, extremely thankful for my wife and 2 daughters and mom and dad and family, and the fact that everybody's healthy. Everybody has survived the last 2 years in a healthy place. So I'm very thankful of that. Thankful for my job, right? Because without that, I wouldn't be able to go to. We had to go to Dolphins games. This might sound weird, but I'm thankful for Celine Dion, and I'm going to tell you why.
Can you talk to the rules of Twitter?
Yeah, as everybody heard, right? My main account was suspended, and it ended up being suspended for 4 months. But I got it back last Wednesday, and the level of appreciation I have now for my old account is so much higher, and that's thanks to Celine Dion and the experience that I had. And what's funny is the video is now available online.
I know it's unbelievable. The hypocrisy, just everything is it's unbelievable.
But I'll tell you something too, that the experience kind of helped me be able to share it with everyone else. Number one, what to try and prevent, but number two, how to go. What's the process afterwards? Because what happened was last weekend I actually resubmitted the information to Twitter that I had submitted 4 months ago, and that they responded like with a generic email. So I said, forget it. I'm just going to submit the exact same stuff.
Nothing to lose. Yeah,
exactly. And I was like, the worst they can say is
no,
it's not going to work. Right. Sorry, you're not getting your account back. And then sure enough, they took down one, which was the Ghostbusters one. It was Ghostbusters. It was when what's his face was seeing ghosts against the Miami Dolphins, and it was playing the Ghostbusters song in the background.
Sam Darnold.
Yep, Sam Darnold. And then the second one, which I got back yesterday, the day before yesterday, was the one for Celine Dion. So it looks like they're releasing all of them that I filed a counter complaint for.
And when we spoke, when this first happened, months ago, which you didn't know, which I learned, but I never had anything shut down, because when I got the warnings, it sounded like you ignored them at the time. When I got them, I took my stuff down, which was like years ago, because mine wasn't the same as yours, obviously.
Got to take it serious.
When it comes to social media, and I don't care if it's YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you cannot use real music in any way, shape, or form. Now, what he has now, it has been released and it can be used, but I'm telling you, don't risk it. because odds are 9 times out of 10 you can't use it, and they will shut you down. And they do send you warnings, and when you get the warnings, if you go on there and take it down, you're probably good. But if you miss the warning, if you ignore the warning, or even if they're just in a bad mood that day, you might not ever see a warning, or they might take it down anyways. Just don't use anything with real music. Don't use anything with real movie clips, because these companies like Sony and all of them, Miramax, whatever they're billion-dollar companies who have an army of people who watch this stuff every day. And you're probably thinking, they watching me, little old, yes, they're watching little old you. And especially when you get like a little bit of a following, like you and me, over 20,000 followers. It's not the biggest in the world. There's people with millions, obviously, but we're big enough where we can make a small little dent in anything. They're going to catch us. So yeah, so that's the rule for just everyone out there listening. Don't use anything real, because there's so many rules. It's just, they will get you. They will hunt you down.
And I'll tell you, Mike, for me, I was happy I got the account back. Not as much about the number of followers, although that's nice, right? I mean, because the new account, was built up, had a significant number of connections.
You're going to pass it eventually anyways.
And I felt like I had all of my great connections that had carried over, and we were conversing, which is also something I'm extremely thankful for. But for me, the biggest thing that I missed was all of my prior posts. Everything was gone. You're talking about a history of 11 years on Twitter, pictures, videos, interactions that I've had, some connections that I just wouldn't get on the new account.
Exactly.
Like Kay,
that's the thing.
Kay from NFL Network, right?
Yeah, because if someone's following you on the one account, you can send them a direct message and they'll see it.
Correct.
If they don't, someone like her, she's not going to know that you, all
and then Darius Rucker, that was another one. Like, so I was really proud that I'm connected to Darius.
So yeah, those are the ones that make it tough to, so great, you got it back. Good little holiday story here to wrap it up on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But now, Ian, I put out the mailbag, and I have to say, we've done mailbags in the show for however many years, whatever. This is the best bunch of mailbag questions because it covers the gamut, not just football, non-football. It covers everything under the sun. So let's get to the mailbag.
Here comes
the Dolphins talk.
Mailbag, got your email, faxes, and your notes. Here comes
the Dolphins talk.
Mailbag, gonna read some for all you folks.
All right, first question is from Keith in Pembroke Pines. Do we even want to see Parker or Will Fuller back this year? At this point, I say screw them. We're 4-7. We probably aren't going to the playoffs. Keep playing Hollins and Wilson in their place. Am I wrong for feeling this way? I got to be honest. I agree with Keith and Pembroke Pines. I really don't care if they come back at this point. Would they help the team win games? Absolutely they would. They're both very talented players. Parker especially, he has a little bit of a rapport with the quarterback, so he would help. Will Fuller, I could care less if he comes back. He's played, 1.5 games for us? He's not going to, whatever. Parker, if he comes back, great. If he doesn't, I'm not losing sleep over at this point because I think we've seen it. I'd be stunned if either one of those guys are here next year. So I don't know. It wouldn't hurt my feelings, Ian.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you, and here's why. Right, and I think that again, Dolphins have an opportunity to at least get to 7-7. Right, if we win this weekend, as you mentioned, there's probably a better chance that we get to 7-7. If there's a way that we can finish out this season strong, we could use those guys, right? And here's the thing, and I understand, and I'm just as frustrated as everyone else about Will Fuller, but I would love to see what the kid can do if he could take some of the pressure off of Waddle for him. And the whole dream that we had in the preseason was this guy was going to be able to open up the passing game when you've got some speedsters like that on the outsides, or even in the slot, whatever it is. Instead of just having Jalen Waddle who can run, you can get Albert Wilson and then Devontae Parker too. I don't know if you remember before he came back for that one game that he was active. I was like, I'm ready to trade him. And then he came back and he had a solid game, right? And he was the guy you could throw the ball to, and he's going to catch it every time.
He's never here.
And that's the thing. And I said it, availability is the most important thing in the National Football League. So if we did have the opportunity to get him back, I would absolutely want them to be on the team. Now it's up to the coaches to say, are they good enough to play? Preston Williams might be somebody that you can say, well, he doesn't need to start. He can be inactive, right? Because he got an opportunity 2 weeks ago and he dropped 3 passes that were right in his hands. And then last week he seemed invisible against the Jets. So he doesn't seem to be making an impact at all. So if the guys could make an impact and the coaches feel that they could, I'd like to see him.
All right. Next one from Paul in North Miami. And Paul is my new best friend because this is right in the holiday spirit. Hi, Mike. You suck. I really don't like you, and I don't know why. I know you have said people only want to hear people tell them what they want to hear, and when someone tells them what they don't want to hear, we lash out at them. Probably true, but you suck. Have a nice Thanksgiving. Paul in North Miami. Paul, you have a happy Thanksgiving as well.
He didn't say anything about me, so
because once again, you know,
I'm the good cop, you're the bad cop, Mike.
Here's a funny thing. There's a guy. What's his freaking name? Ray. He goes by I don't even know why. I'm gonna give this guy a little bit of attention. He's gonna go freaking crazy. His name is Dolphin Ray. Ray. After every podcast we've done for 2 years, not just us, like any podcast I'm on for 2 years, sends me the most hateful, negative, mean-spirited comment that one could imagine. You suck. You're a loser. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a moron. You're an idiot. And I'm saying to myself, this guy's he must listen to everything I do.
All you can say is thanks for listening.
That's exactly it. I'm like, this guy is so stupid that he doesn't realize with every click and listen, he's putting money in my pocket. So to Paul, Paul wished me happy Thanksgiving. Paul, happy Thanksgiving. Sorry you're not a fan, but keep watching and listening. And to Ray there, Dolphin Ray, you dope. Keep sending your negative feedback. Keep putting money in my pocket because he sends the most vile things. I'm like, dude, if I'm such a moron, an idiot, and a loser, why do you listen? And why do you take time out of your day?
Same reason why people read Omar Kelly's,
exactly,
because they don't like him, but they still read his stuff because they want to see what he's saying.
At the end of the day, I always call it the American Idol syndrome. Now, not now American Idol. When American first came on there, you had Paul Abdul. Everyone who came on, Paul, oh, you're the best, you're greatest. Your Paul is the greatest, you're the best. Then they go to Randy, dog, you're awesome, dog. Dog, you're the man, dog. They get to Simon, you suck. Now, Simon would say you suck to 9 people. When Simon said to that 10th person, you were really good, guess what? That actually meant something. You know why? Because he's saying, I really think you're good, you're good. He's not kissing everyone's ass. I fall in, unfortunately, and I'm not even trying to do this. It's just how people perceive it. To that Simon Cowell role, I'm not going to kiss everyone's ass. So when I do praise someone, believe it, I'm really praising them because people just, I understand fans of the team don't want to hear negative stuff about the team, but sometimes when you're having a bad year, like we are, I'm not going to say negative things.
Understood.
Here's a good one for both of us. Mike and Ian, I truly enjoy your show each week and the back and forth you two have. The fact you can disagree at times but still stay respectful to each other and it doesn't affect your friendship really comes through. I am thinking of starting my own podcast, not a Miami Dolphins one. What advice would you give me? From Peter in Fort Lauderdale. You want to go first? I got advice.
Here's my advice. My advice would be to try and, instead of doing it on your own, try and find somebody to do it with. And because I will tell you that, and you had this before you and I linked up on these Wednesday nights. It is hard to do it on your own, right? Because all you're doing is you're speaking to a camera and you're speaking to a microphone. And I know Dougley Do Right, he does that and he is so darn good at it.
Here's the thing. 2018, 2019, especially 2019 when we were terrible. For those of you who might not have known about our site back then, I did a show by myself every day.
That's crazy.
Every day. And that's why when you reached out saying, because you were writing for us about a year and a half ago, whatever it was, you said you want to do a podcast. I'm like, time out. Don't do it by yourself. You'll never do it. Join me once a week. And because that's when I was like, A, I can't keep up this. I'm going to kill myself. Literally, I can't keep up this pace. And 2, you don't want to start that because I said there's a million podcasts out there. We're more established. You hop on with me, and that's how we came up with this show. I will say this, though, for having a show by yourself when you're starting off, because when you first start off, you're not established. You don't really have a following. Do a couple months by yourself because you are going to make mistakes. You're going to find out what works, what does not work. You're going to find a rhythm. You're going to find a tone. You're going to find your voice. Do a couple months, I would say at least, if not longer even, by yourself. Just do as
And
many
don't
shows.
do them live. Do them recorded in case
Yeah,
you make
yeah.
a mistake. Then you
Exactly.
can kind of change some things.
Don't do
around.
it
Yeah.
live.
Yep.
This, we got years of experience now. I would never recommend live shows if you didn't. Tape a bunch of shows. Even if you don't even release them, do shows by yourself.
And then critique yourself. Listen to yourself.
Critique yourself. Be
Right.
honest and say, "Oh man, my voice sounds terrible." And for like a lot of things with voice, you can fix that with like settings and microphones. So there's that part of it, but just the content, because on all podcasts, content is king. Now, you said you're not doing one about the Dolphins. I don't know what the content is. Say it's about a rock band. Say it's about music, whatever. That's
Gotta have an audience for it.
Yeah, find your audience, but also you have to know the subject matter like the back of your hands. Like Ian just brought up the 1993 Thanksgiving game against Cowboys. I didn't know he was going to mention that. I just rolled off a bunch of facts. Because, off the top of my head, granted, I just did research, but he could mention like a 1992 game because I'm a sick, crazy person maybe, but I know the content like the back of my hand. Content's king. Know the content, know the subject matter, and just do a ton of shows, because once you get comfortable in front of a microphone, and it ain't easy. I've seen a lot of people try and a lot of people fail, and there's a lot of podcasts out there that suck because some people aren't cut out for this. And
they try though, and I give anyone credit who tries to do this.
I will never say a bad thing about another podcast, especially about the Dolphins, because I know how much time, effort, and work goes into it. But some people just aren't meant for this, and it comes through. But you can be meant for this because you just practice. You have to practice so damn much.
This, I will tell you too, podcasting helps with public speaking.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you have to be able to speak smoothly and fluently and have your thoughts in order when you're speaking. And that's what you need when you're in front of a crowd in public, public spaces. And I have found myself, since I've been podcasting, to be better on Zoom calls, because that's how we're meeting nowadays, right?
Yep.
So I'd say that's the other thing too. I'm sure there's probably like 100 other things.
Oh, there's 100 other things, but just know the subject matter like the back of your hands. Don't talk about a topic if you don't know all the facts. You got to have it, because if the audience doesn't think you know what you're talking about, they're going to tune out in 2 seconds. If you say a fact wrong, I mean, yes, everyone gets a fact wrong here and there, but if you get like the basic facts wrong, they're going to tune you out like this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And just
either that, or they're going to post it on social media that you don't know what
and they're going to put you on social media that you're a moron. And just do 100 shows, because it's not easy to just talk in front of a microphone, especially by yourself. Trust me, I did that for 2 years by myself. 2 years outside of the post game, because I didn't have you, Josh, Aaron at the time. It was just me and Tom, and Tom and me only did like the weekend shows. So it was me Monday through Friday alone, and it was brutal. And especially when the team stunk. You want to talk about brutal. Oh my God. But it does help too, because my job is very call heavy volume, where I'm talking on the phone. And since the past 3 to 5 years, once I've been, it's helped in that form, because now I can bullshit my way through anything. And I'm more comfortable just speaking to whatever in general. And plus, I like Zoom calls and stuff. Yeah. All right. 2 more questions. One football, one not football. Travis and Clearwater. Jesse Davis and Liam Eichenberg are bad each week. Why does this coaching staff refuse to even try anyone else at offensive tackle? Because I don't think they have anyone else that they feel comfortable trying them with. You could say Robert Hunt maybe at right tackle, but then what are you going to do at right guard? So I don't think they have anyone else.
And Liam had his best game as a pro, so it's possible that we're starting to see him kind of turn that corner. But Jesse has just not really proven anything. So we'll see. There's not a lot of options. I think that's what you said, Mike, and I agree.
Yeah, there's nobody else. Last question from Greg in Jupiter, Florida. Now, this is a lengthy one, which I usually don't like, but this is Thanksgiving themed, and he's asking us for help, Ian. And when people ask us for help, we answer the call.
Absolutely.
I need your help, Mike and Ian. My wife and I both listen to your show each week, and we love both of your common sense approach to the Miami Dolphins and life in general. Big debate going on with me and my wife. What time do we eat Thanksgiving dinner? My wife wants to eat at 2 p.m. so we can then have a sandwich and some leftovers later in the evening. I'm saying that's too early. Let's eat at 5 p.m. and just do leftovers the next day. Now, here's a caveat. We do have family coming over around noontime, so we have to factor that in. But it's also been a huge debate all week. Like most things, I'm probably going to lose as my wife wins every argument. And yes, I know she's listening to this. That's the best line. But what's your opinion? At least if I lose this battle, she may hear you two very smart men side with me on this and understand where I'm coming from. So, Ian Berger, the Berger family, Thanksgiving Day, are you an early eating family or a late eating family?
So first of all, what time is Travis recommending that
No,
they
this is
eat?
Greg
He
in
wants them to
Jupiter,
eat.
Florida. This is Greg in Jupiter.
Greg.
He wants to eat at 5. His wife wants to eat at 2.
So then
We're
he's going to like my
compromising that.
answer.
Yeah.
We have family coming over at 4.
Okay.
We're eating at 5.
Okay. So you're a late eating family.
And everybody, will leave 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9,
Yeah.
whatever time they leave. But we
So you're with his
do
wife.
we do it. Part of the reason that we do it, and we love our family, right? So
Yeah.
my in-laws, my sister, my brother-in-law, everybody, right, who comes over, love their company. It's the first time in 2 years that we are going to be together, which is really special for us. But we also know that there's got to be a cutoff point.
Everyone goes home.
So if you start at noon,
They're there
that
all
cutoff
day.
point can go till 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
It's
Right.
a long
People
period.
don't get the hint to leave. And I'm with
Correct.
you on that. Family or not, people don't get the hint to leave. They will camp out all day. And I'm not talking about your family in particular. I'm sure they're great people. I'm just talking about in general. And
Yes, correct.
I don't care if it's a party. I don't care if it's a party with friends, party with coworkers, or it's a family type thing. People, if you let them, they will hibernate in your house and not leave until you pretty much shove them out the door. Not all, but most people, because people are just wired not the same. But so you are eating late. So you're with him. You're with
Yep.
Greg. You're on
I
team
am
Greg.
with Greg.
Now I'm on the wife's side, but she's a little too early for me. 2 o'clock. We're like 3. So and now he did say they have family showing up at noon. Let them show up at noon. If they're showing up at noon and you can't do nothing about that, which it sounds like they can't, which I understand. Everyone's got their own type of situation. You give them the nibblies, you give them the cheese, the pepperonis, the crackers, all that stuff. But by 3 o'clock, maybe not 2, by 3 o'clock, you want to get the bird on the table. I would say then, because you can't make them wait from noon to 5. That's too long in between, I think. So I would say noon to 3. 2 is a little too early, maybe. But noon, bring out the nibblies, the chips, the dips, all that stuff. Then by 3 o'clock, get that bird on the table. And hopefully they're not people who are going to camp out all night. But yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. Honestly, there isn't. Now, some people like leftovers. We don't do leftovers at night, but we might make if they're watching, say, the Egg Bowl, which we now have a few bucks on, we might make a sandwich around halftime of the Egg Bowl and hope our bets are going well.
Right.
So we might do a little sandwich at night because we're eating at around 3, maybe like 8:39, have a little sandwich. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough with family, especially with family members you might not see often. So I don't know. It's tough to comment on someone else's family. I don't want to get in the middle of that. But there's no right or wrong. So
Greg, I'm backing you, buddy. I'm backing you, Greg.
You're on side with Ian and the wife. He didn't say your name. I'm closer with your side, but you can't do 2. You got to do like 3. You got to push it back.
Well,
a
2
little
is right in the middle of the first football game too, isn't it?
which is okay this year because
Yeah.
that game stinks.
Yeah. I still have
Yeah.
some fantasy football implications.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you
Well,
want to watch. But
So I
it's
went to
gonna be
casino, as they said, and I placed because look, these games suck, and the only thing going to get me through watching them is having some money on them. So I did. So you got the college games. I did a parlay with just the college games, and then I did one with the pro games. I did some other bets with the pro games. So I got some
Just
action.
keep it for you. You'll be rooting.
So I have a reason to watch every which way possible. Hold on, we get a comment here. Make a little leftover turkey sandwich. There you go. There you go. That sounds good there from Bleezy. Absolutely. So yeah. Okay. Dolphins-Panthers preview here as we wrap up. I'll say this: Newton ain't the same Newton in years past. But last year against Miami, he did split. He beat them week 1. He lost at the end of the year. So it's still Newton. Newton doesn't scare me. It's everything else on the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey's healthy. Moore is a very good wide receiver. Robbie Anderson's a very good wide receiver. The Panthers have weapons, and that's going to be something Miami's going to have to deal with. The other side of the ball, they're not the Jets defense. They're much better than the Jets defense. We're going to need to see this offense put up, I think, at least 24 points, probably closer to 27 if they want to win this game. They're at home. It's Hard Rock Stadium. That's an advantage. But look, out of all in this stretch that we've been talking about, Houston, Ravens, Jets, Panthers, Giants, Jets. This is the most losable game, I thought. Outside of the Ravens one now.
Yeah.
It's the most losable game. So if they can get through this one, like we said, 7-7 is very realistic, honestly. But this ain't going to be no walk in the park. The Panthers are good. The record might not reflect it. Talent-wise, I think, toss the records out the window. They match up with Miami very well. They have strengths where Miami is a little bit weak. I just think they match up with Miami well. It will come down to Newton versus Tua, I think, as most games come down to available quarterbacks. If Tua doesn't turn it over, can't turn it over, and makes a few plays, we're going to be fine. If he turns it over, and if Newton looks like the Newton of 2016, 2015, it might be a long day. But this is going to be a close game. I think it's even. I saw it today at the casino.
Because originally it opened at the Panthers by 2.
Panthers by 1 or 2, and then it went to even. So look, these two teams are very even talent-wise, and they're having about the same type of year, honestly. It's going to be a close game. Probably come down to a field goal. Jason Sanders better not screw up this week. I'll tell you that.
We need him. We need to come through. And I'll tell you, too, you talk about Cam Newton. Last year when we lost to Cam Newton that first game, it was the first time he was playing for the Patriots. So you didn't know kind of what their strategy was going to be. And he ran that RPO really successfully, and he was able to get that out. The second time we played them in Miami, the Dolphins were prepared for him. They had seen his film already. They game planned for him, game planned for the team, and we were able to win, right? So this week, too, we now have an entire full game of his play to be able to figure out what we want to do with him. And I'll be honest with you, if the Dolphins defense can kind of prepare a similar game plan to what they did for Lamar 2 weeks ago, because he is also a mobile quarterback. Usually Lamar is, he's running for 100 yards in a game, and we were able to, keep him in that pocket, and we were able to blitz him from all different angles. If we can figure out a way to do that and make it successful, I think we got a real good shot at this one. And, because Cam Newton, so there's a couple things. Cam Newton, he was out of the NFL for a while, right? So he had an opportunity to rest, but he's still an older Cam Newton. He's not the same Cam Newton he was when he was a rookie. So I think there's an opportunity there. Christian McCaffrey is the one who probably does scare me the most.
He scares me a lot because he's the one who probably has the ability to just beat Miami single-handedly.
Michael Carter, had he stayed healthy last week, I think he would run more. Yeah, I really felt he was going to be able to do more damage to the Dolphins. So they've really got to figure that out. And you said they've got some pretty solid wide receivers. So I think this, we've seen Tua have some very successful games and some of the best games in his career, over the last couple of weeks. Maybe that's an overstatement, but anyway, he's had last week's game was a very good game. Exactly.
He's playing better.
If he can continue that improvement, some of his efficiency, I think he's been at 81% completion rate, if I remember correctly, at that game last week. If he can continue that, there's some good things. And if we've got to spread out the field, even if he throws the ball down the field and he's 2 or 3 yards ahead of the receiver trying to catch the ball, at least it shows the defense that we're willing to throw down the field. And I say it every week. We've got to at least show the defense that we're willing and able to do that. Maybe we don't connect 100% of the times, but we've got to be able to show that we can make those throws. So I think it's going to be close. I do favor my team. Again, we've got the momentum right now where Carolina just lost their game, right? The first game that Cam Newton came back, he lost. So I favor the Dolphins at home, where there's going to be a much more, the Panthers fans do not traditionally travel like some of the other teams that we see in Miami.
Nobody after Thanksgiving too, there'll be nobody.
Correct. There. So the Dolphins are going to, we should be the louder fans in the stadium on Sunday. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins. It might be very close, but I think we'll pull it out.
I think this is a field goal game either way. I don't even know who to take, but the one that fears me is McCaffrey because he looks healthy. And he, as a receiving threat, at linebacker, we're thin anyways, and we better put a guy on him who can cover him. It's more than just him running the ball. If he gets in space, you almost got to put a corner on him to cover him. You can't cover him with a linebacker. He'll eat a linebacker alive. Yep. So that's what scares me. And you mentioned Michael Carter. That annoyed me so much on Sunday watching the game. I went off. Tom and me went off on this on the postgame show. Michael Carter was picked in round 4 by the Jets. Michael Carter looks very good. He does look very good. Now, I'm not saying he's the best running back in the world, but he looks like a very capable NFL running back who's very good. The Miami Dolphins around 3 last year took Hunter Long, who's inactive every game and never plays. And who knows what's going to happen next year, because they might re-sign Mike Gesicki and Smythe. And what's the role for Long even next year? Nobody knows. So we took round 3 Hunter Long. Michael Carter, the Dolphins coach, the staff coached Michael Carter at the Senior Bowl. They had him for a week up close. They didn't take Michael Carter, once again, not the greatest guy in the world. On Miami, he clearly be their best running back. And we coached him at the Senior Bowl, and we still didn't take him. When we took Hunter Long, we never placed. That's the frustration that this fan base has at times. That
we may see him, though. We may see Hunter Long this weekend, because I understand who was it that's questionable for this week? I know it was one of the I have no idea. One of the tight ends was questionable. Shaheen. Yeah, Adam Shaheen, I think, is questionable or limited today at today's practice.
The overall point is,
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I understand.
We don't really need Hunter Long.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and it's nothing against him. He might be a fine tight end in time. But for this year, when we have no running backs, Michael Carter, who we coached at the Senior Bowl, and our staff was with him for an entire week. Yeah. And it's not like the Jets' offensive line's any good. They suck just as much as ours. So he's doing all this, man, a bad offensive line too, which makes it even more like, oh, my God, put him in Miami. Oh, it's so frustrating. But, yeah, this game's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be I don't know if they're going to win. As I said, after the Jacksonville game, if they lose to Jacksonville, I will never predict them to win a game this year, and I'm not going to predict them to win a game this year. But I think we could win this game because, obviously, it's not like the Panthers are all that great, but they do have weapons who might cause matchups. But just watch McCaffrey, because if he runs for like 85 and catches for like 102, we're screwed. I know that much. Yeah. We're screwed because we ain't winning a shootout versus anybody. So
one thing, because I know you're going to be wrapping it up real quick, I wanted to just let everybody know Mauricio. This is Mauricio. I don't know if you can see it clearly.
Yeah, we can see that.
He follows me on Twitter. We've been following together. He donated back at the beginning of the season a pair of 15-yard club level seats on the home side to be raffled off, and we were able to raise $450 for the Dolphins Challenge Cancer event back for the Bills. And he came and said, listen, I'm not going to be able to go to this weekend's game. So he has, again, donated his 15-yard line home side club level tickets for this weekend's game. So I'm taking a raffle, and I'm going to be drawing on Saturday night at 9 p.m. So I wanted to thank Mauricio, and he said the reason why he's doing this is that he lost his dad to cancer. So this money that is raised for this is in honor of his dad, and that's why he wanted to make sure that he did this. So wanted to say thank you, Mauricio. And if anybody's interested in it, just look on my Twitter page, Ian693 without the underscore. And there's some details there about how to get involved.
Yep, absolutely. So if you're in the South Florida area, you want to go to the game this week, enter the raffle. You might win a game, and all the money goes to a good cause. As we wrap up here, first and foremost, happy Thanksgiving to everyone here from DolphinsTalk.com. Hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving holiday. Stay safe, everybody, and enjoy the holiday. A few plugs here. I don't know how many more podcasts we're going to have between now and the end of the week, but just keep an eye on the website, DolphinsTalk.com, and I'm sure we'll have a couple. I think we're going to have a new one from Carter and Jorge, the Two Amigos podcast, and Josh and Aaron. Josh is out of town. He said he's going to try and do something, so keep an eye on that. Be sure to read the Blitz at MiamiDolphins.com. I have one coming up on both Thursday and Friday, just because the holiday. The Miami Dolphins, they don't rest. Be sure to follow Ian Berger on Twitter at Ian693. Follow myself at Dolphins Talk. Go to the Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, Dolphins Talk. Just go to YouTube, search for Dolphins Talk. Subscribe, smash that like button, hit the alert button, get the notification when a show goes live. And as always, like I said, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. And hopefully we have another Miami Dolphins win this week. Keep the streak alive. Keep surging here. Get a fourth win. If for nothing else, for nothing more, I don't want to give the Philadelphia Eagles a high pick. Screw them. So
darn right.
Spite is a good motivator. Screw them. So I don't want to give them a high pick. So everyone have a great Wednesday night. Have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll talk to you again after a while.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Fins up.